I'm happy to have Jackson from Box with me.
Thank you.
And you just had a talk at New York No Go. Can you quickly summarize what the key takeaways were?
Yeah, I mean, my focus really was on the customer, and everything we do from an advertising monetization standpoint, it doesn't work unless we really know our customer and really build a business that engages them at an emotional level as well as a functional. So it's a combination of clear value props and functional benefit, convenience, price, selection, along with that extra layer of building a brand that they love and can engage with, and that's the value that we pass along to the CPG. So that's what I talked about.
Okay, I do remember kind of 10 years ago, everyone was talking about online grocery.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the biggest thing ever, and then I saw many companies failing.
Yeah.
Probably small basket values, thin margins, and nobody could actually really make it happen. Now we are seeing Boxed, and I think you just got a significant funding in, so Box seems to perform really well. Why? What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue it's still hard. It's still hard to acquire customers efficiently. It's hard to manage those margins. It is thin. It's hard to manage efficiency, but it is a different landscape than 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago, people were comfortable with fresh, so I think that's a big one, right? And I'd argue that the more Amazon succeeds, the better it is for companies like us. But it is weird, right? 10 years ago, people got comfortable with buying like diamond rings and cars online, but somehow lettuce and paper towels were not as easy for them. So I think it will continue to prosper. I don't think it's where it needs to be yet, but it has grown quite a bit. But yeah, I definitely actually think Amazon is going to help a lot of other e-commerce companies make it easier for customers to get their head around it.
Okay. You mentioned that you're partnering with all your brands and to kind of share your audiences and allow them to better reach their consumers. This to many people would sound quite abstract. Could you give us a use case?
Yeah.
How does this actually work?
Yeah, so when we work with partners like Pepsi, Kraft, General Mills, for instance, they oftentimes have a new product, innovation. So this is a great example where they come to us and say, hey, we're testing a new product, a new flavor of a water, a new snack. We're not sure how we'll do. Before rolling out nationally to all these retailers, we'd love some early data, early insight from you on what regions are buying it, what kind of customers are buying it, so we can better understand, like, is this something we want to continue or expand, or can we get some interesting data points around what else people are buying with that product? So they actually work closely with us to trial new innovation and get really great tangible data on customer behavior, demographic data, geographical data to really understand what's popping and what's not, and then apply that at a larger scale. Because they're very transparent with data, we don't share personal customer data, we share a lot of other things that help performance, but also help them understand what's going to be popular maybe in certain regions or with certain audiences.
And what do they specifically do then with that data? Do they just use it for research? Or do they use it for advertising, targeting?
I think it's both, and it's also retail strategy, right? That might inform how they might roll it out. Instead of going nationwide with the product, they might go to a region and go to a regional grocer and sell through, which will save them a lot of money, but maybe have a higher impact. They also use it for better targeting on advertising, off platform and on Box, and they even use it for packaging and design. So it's a combination of things, and because we're so transparent with them, they get insight from us that they can't get from other retailers.
So they kind of see usually retailers being that sort of black
box. Yeah, they hide it.
No idea what's going on, but you depend fully on the black box, so you're kind of giving back some data to help them with their decision making.
Everything outside of PII, because that's obviously where we protect that, but behavioral data, segment data, yeah, we'll give that to them, and I know that's something that they value quite a bit.
How is Box set up from an organizational point of view? Because you have hundreds of brands,
yeah.
You have to sell to them,
yep.
You have to make sure that they benefit from your value proposition, you have to handle ad operations and all these things. I assume that's not just 3 to 5 people.
Yeah.
How does it actually work?
Yeah, I mean, it is a lean team, so trade marketing per se, and you're right, it's hundreds, maybe thousands of brands. Trade marketing is 2 people on my team. But then they work very closely with the merchandise team, which I think is 8 or 10 people, so still pretty lean, and it's a very interchangeable role. So my team might lead trade marketing, but the merch team is on the front lines working very closely with the CPGs to think about monetization and think about marketing opportunities. So it is a very ebbs and flows. Unlike other bigger brands where you do this, that's all you do. At Box, might have a trade marketing team and a merch team, but it's a very interchangeable team. Even myself as CMO, I'm oftentimes in Detroit, in Chicago, in Minneapolis, meeting in Northern California, meeting with the CPGs and talking through marketing strategy. And then we have outside partners that we work closely with. But yeah, it's still pretty lean team, but it's all about just the integration.
You mentioned trade. There's some shift happening from what I perceive, that kind of before this was trade budget, you kind of bought shelf space.
Yeah.
Now it gets more performance advertising character sometimes, because you can target specific audiences, you can see the KPIs, you can drive efficiency. So what opportunities do you see to get additional budgets from the performance advertising side, and instead of just cannibalizing the trade budgets?
Yeah, I think it's brand. I think more and more CMOs and all the way down to the brands are being asked to better measure what marketing is doing. It used to be marketing would get a function of sales, right? So 3% of sales goes into marketing. Now it's what sales can I drive from marketing, which sounds like the same, but it's a very different kind of conversation. So I think the brand teams are really getting pushed to be held accountable, not just for clicks, not just for impressions and views and aided awareness lift. That's all the historical measurements, and those are important. But it's like, hey, are you actually driving sales? Are you actually moving cases? Are you helping better define the customer path of purchase? So to me, that intersect is continuing to happen, and because the CPGs can't go direct, they need retailers to do that, and all the brick and mortars, they still really can't do that. E-commerce can. Amazon won't give them that data, so it goes back to what role we play with them, and I think that's the biggest opportunity, is to unlock some of those brand dollars. Even a small percentage, someone's big brand budgets is a significant amount compared to trade and even shopper marketing.
Yeah, we heard Amazon probably 5,000 times today. So one question related to Amazon as well. How does Box plan to differentiate itself on the long run from Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two pieces to that question. One, we're bulk, and they don't really do bulk. They have the marketplace where you could, but if you buy 10 bulk items from Amazon, there's a likelihood you get it over 5 days in 10 boxes. So that's not the best fulfillment experience. Like, obviously they could figure that out if they wanted to, but that's clearly not where their priority is. But I actually think we can coexist. I think there is definitely a big opportunity for Amazon to unlock, like I mentioned earlier, the fresh space and get people comfortable buying CPG with their Whole Foods partnership, that we can then piggyback on that. So, unlike other brick and mortar, we actually don't see Amazon as like this monster. We see them as a wonderful company that's opening the consumer's mindset in terms of what is delivered to them and maybe what isn't, in a way that we haven't seen before.
Thanks a lot, Jackson.
Yeah, thank you.
For your insights.
Appreciate it for the time.